Hello there guys and welcome back to another review, or as we're gonna hopefully start calling it, I've not gone through this with Saul yet, the SNR reviews.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good.
Because SmackDown and Raw reviews and also the Saul and Rami reviews.
Oh.
It's a double entendre. It works. Kind of. Maybe, maybe not. We'll
Yeah,
find
yeah, it
out.
sort of works.
We're toying with the idea of moving this over to a different YouTube channel. We've got it in the works, aren't we, at the moment? We're trying to just see what it's like. But the idea is that I think in New Year time, we release a new channel with the reviews on there. I've got a plan in action of which way it's going to go. I'll explain Saul off stream as well about that. But for all you guys need to know is potentially the SNR reviews would be coming January 2023. That's all I will say. Also, I did not watch Raw.
What a mistake to make.
Yes. So I didn't watch Raw. The simple fact of I was very tired last night. I had work at 12. I was up for 11, and I just didn't. I needed more sleep than 7 hours, and it probably would have been 6 because it finishes at 4 a.m. I needed more sleep, so I missed Raw. I've got notes from a report to my side, so Saul's gonna take the majority of this episode. And I'm
wonderful.
I'm just gonna fill in with stuff that this. So again, these are not my views; these are the report views and stuff. And I basically have a look through and try and help out as best as possible. This is Saul's episode,
Marvelous.
pretty much. Sorry to put him on the spot, but it is how
That's
it
all right.
is. So, the first thing I will note before we get into it is this match features, because I did see before it started, we have the Matt Riddle and Elias tag team match for the titles. We also have 2 triple threat matches, and luckily this got teased on Twitter before Raw. So I know of Asuka, Bailey. No, I'm wrong. Hold on.
Yep, you're right.
Asuka, Bailey, and Rhea Ripley, and the other triple threat being, when I get there, Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, and Nikki Cross. And they said that the 2 winners of these matches will face each other next week for a title shot at Bianca Belair.
Yes.
And that's about as much as I know. The only other thing really, which was SmackDown related, back on SmackDown last week, Sheamus said that him and Drew will be waiting for the tag champs after this match. Drew, however, has put a thing up on Twitter saying that he's actually not medically cleared to compete Friday. We don't know if it's a work or if it's an actual legit injury, but he's not cleared to work Friday.
Did he wrestle on SmackDown? I can't remember.
I don't think he was there for SmackDown. No. I just think he's got a bit of an underlying injury. And Sheamus did put get well soon, laddie. So I think it is a real.
Could be something from War Games, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it is something legit. But Sheamus and Drew versus the tag winners of this match tonight looks like it's not happening on SmackDown.
It's Book is stepping in for Drew.
Oh, is he? So Sheamus and Butch?
Book, yeah.
Ooh. So there we go. Sheamus and Butch are going to be the ones fighting. So we start off the episode.
Do you know where we're coming from this week?
No, not at all.
The Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C.
So we're at the Capitol.
Yes.
We're at the Capitol. Okay, lovely. It says here, obviously, the Royal Rumble is 2 months away. One day's Raw featured the Usos, putting the tag team champs on the line against Riddle and Elias. And yeah, we're coming from the Capital One Arena, or whatever you may call it, from Washington, D.C. tonight. And to start off the episode is Saul.
Yes, so we're led to believe that it's going to be the Usos versus Riddle and Elias. But the Usos come out first. They get quite a big pop from the crowd. And as they're coming out, we get a recap of a Saxton interview earlier in the day. And he's interviewing the Bloodline as they turn up. And Riddle sort of comes tearing along on his scooter and they all sort of scatter. Solo sort of then disappears. And Elias walks up to the rest of the Bloodline, the Usos and Sammy. And he's arguing with them. And then Solo sort of jumps out and he starts beating up Elias. All the Usos then join in, and he basically gets taken out. So at this point, I was saying, "Oh, tag match is cancelled." Then they're all talking in the ring about how all the Bloodline are talking about how they've taken out Elias and they're sorry there's not going to be a match tonight. And then Riddle's music hits. It says that the Bloodline running from a fight isn't very Usi. And and so Sammy sort of replies, "No, I'm an Usiologist." And
Usiologist?
Yep, he knows everything about being Usi. And he sort of lists like, oh, the Usos being tag team champions for 500 and whatever days is Usi, and all this, that, and the other. And then Riddle cuts him off and says, "Look, there is going to be a tag match. I found a partner." And we get the old dun dun dun. It's KO. Yeah, and the crowd are going nuts.
Prize fighter.
Yeah, prize fighter Kevin Owens. The Usos aren't happy about this, obviously.
Surprised.
So the match starts, and Owens is the first one in, and he's pretty much a one-man wrecking crew. He takes out one Uso after the other. He hits a lovely cannonball and a moonsault at one point. Then makes the tag to Riddle, but straight away, as soon as Riddle gets in, he loses all his momentum.
Wonderful.
As Amber is kicked in the back of the head by Jay from the outside. He goes down like a sack of spuds, and then we just get a long period of the Usos double teaming double teaming Riddle.
Yeah.
There's a nice big uppercut by Jimmy on Riddle. And then finally we get a Riddle hot tag. And the first thing he does as soon as he gets in KO is hit a swanton bomb on a downed Jimmy Uso.
Ooh. I do kind of wish I watched this, but
yeah, well, it was a great match. They had a bit of chemistry actually, Riddle and KO. When first of all, when Riddle called him out, he said, "Oh, we're not really bros." He's gone, but I still found a tag team partner. Then KO goes for the pop-up power bomb, but it's avoided, and KO then gets a super kick from Jimmy, I believe. Things break down after that. There's some action on the outside where Riddle takes out Solo Sikoa, and you see Sammy actually pulls Jay out of the way, so Solo's the one that gets hit. And they was thinking, oh, we wouldn't have seen that sort of 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
KO gets super kicked on the outside, so he's put out of commission. And then Riddle's distracted as he gets back into the ring. He's hit with the 1D, and the Usos pick up the win.
Ooh. So, from this report I've got on the side, obviously, I've got some notable moments and observations, as they call it. So, some notable moments are Riddle interrupting a backstage interview with the Bloodline by riding scooter through the shot was kind of funny, but seeing Sikoa walk away so he could return to surprise Lance was hilarious. Zayn trying to correct Riddle about what Usi means shouldn't have been as funny as it was, but that's how good Sami Zayn is. The Usos are great at hitting strikes that look like they make a big impact. A lot of wrestlers are clearly pulling their punches, but the Usos look convincing when they hit someone most of the time.
Yeah, they do sound matey, a lot of their super kicks, and the uppercut he hit Riddle with was...
Elias should be really mad that Riddle recruited the guy who ended Ezekiel's career in KO. And there's a bit I'm going to leave because just before
I'm hoping that this might lead to a feud between Riddle and Elias, because they've been teasing it for a while.
So, yeah, a couple of bits to point out from, again, this report. These are not my views, because I didn't watch it. Got some context here and there. The contest, they were given a good amount of time to make this competitive contest. All 4 men looked good, but the match as a whole felt countless. Like other countless tag team contests we have seen. It was good, but it didn't stand out for any reason other than the challengers being a bit of an odd couple. As you
I'd
said,
agree with that.
the Usos were able to retain the titles by pinning Riddle with a 1D. The prize fighter chased the bloodline off with a chair. And this is the bit I did see, thankfully, and probably the only bit I did see, is Solo Sikoa stayed behind to beat up Riddle by himself. And as it was Umanga's birthday yesterday, or today, he actually wrapped up his thumb like Umaga does. Now, usually, Solo doesn't wrap up his thumb. He wrapped up his thumb and hit Riddle with the Samoan spike. It was a really nice touch, I thought, when I saw that. And the last notable moment is Sikoa decimating Riddle was the best part of the first half hour of the show. He's going to be a great character for years to come.
He also put a steel chair around Riddle's neck and did that sort of thing where he gets up on the turnbuckle and then charges across the ring and slams his sort of backside into Riddle, and the chair sort of folded up right into his throat.
Jesus, Solo, what did he do to annoy you?
Yeah.
So the winners were the Usos. Now, again, this report gave the match a 3.5 out of 5.
I gave it a 3.
Fair dues. I'm going based upon it's A minus, B minus is what it says here. So it'd be A is 5, 4, yeah, so 3.5 from the report. Again, I've not seen this, so I'm just making comments from the report that I've seen to help aid.
That was a good enough match. I mean, I predicted that the Usos were going to win it.
Yeah.
There's no chance Riddle and Elias or KO were going to...
My question here is, obviously we know about Butch and Sheamus for SmackDown, but is there genuinely a tag team that can take the belts off of the Usos? And if so, what team is that? Because from watching SmackDown, Sheamus and Drew sound like they could, but again, it's an odd pairing, and I wouldn't want them to end the title reign so quickly. On the other hand, the New Day's been beat, the Street Profits have been beat. Is there genuinely a tag team good enough to beat the Usos? Because again, with Roman Reigns, as we know, they're on another level. They can't be beat. Who beats Roman Reigns? Who beats the Usos?
Could see maybe in the future Judgment Day or Good Brothers.
I reckon if you're going to take the belts
the
off of the Usos, it ends up being Kevin and Sammy. There's a storyline in place where Sammy ends up turning on the bloodline in the end, and Kevin and Sammy team up to be a tag team, and they beat them for the belts.
That's probably the best thing to do, yeah.
And have Cody Rhodes beat Roman Reigns for the titles, in which case the Bloodline lose all the titles at WrestleMania. It's something I'd like to see. The Bloodline are no title, they've got nothing. And
that'd be a very interesting way to see how they handle that.
Imagine if it was Solo and Sammy as a tag team. So we've seen rumours, haven't we, about Solo standing off to the side and being sent by the elders. I personally think that it should be Solo who cost Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I think it gets to the point where he's facing The Rock or whatever he may do at WrestleMania. He's facing Cody, and yes, it could undermine Cody, or he doesn't do it in the Cody match. It's just in the Rock match. The Rock and Roman are whatever, and Roman looks like he's won. He's got his enforcer down. He's gonna basically, beat up Rock. And what people don't realize is that the Rock actually sent Solo. So then Solo turns on Roman, and Rock gets the win.
Yeah.
And which leads Roman into a bit of a downfall, in which case he then loses to Cody Rhodes because his head's not in the game. He's worried his own bloodline members just turned on him.
Yeah, that'd be a good way of going about it, actually.
Spitballing, obviously. But Solo is going to be a star. I think putting him with the bloodline is a very good move. But I do think that Kevin and Sami Zayn are due a tag team run. And
we're gonna have to see what happens. Is Sammy gonna turn on them, or is the bloodline gonna turn on him? Because now it doesn't look like the bloodline will turn on him.
I think they're definitely setting up for a spot in the Royal Rumble where basically the Usos and Sammy are in the ring,
Mm.
and basically one of them maybe sacrificing himself to let the other go forward. Do we have like an allegiance thing in the Royal Rumble? I don't know. Because you
Hmm.
can definitely do a lot of storylines within the Royal Rumble, can't you?
Yeah.
So
I think that'll be where we get our Cody return as well. As to
yeah,
whether he wins the Rumble, I don't know. A lot of people don't want him to because they said he doesn't need it. But
yeah, we will see. Right. Does anything happen in between this and the next
yeah, we've got a
match?
couple of in-betweeny bits.
Okay.
We get the repeated that there's two women's triple threat matches tonight. We get a bit with the Judgment Day, and Rhea says that when she's done, the whole women's locker room will be calling her mummy.
I'm not arguing it.
Hmm.
Mind it.
We then go over to JBL, who's holding a poker invitational. There's quite a few wrestlers there. There's Dom,
Okay.
you've got Tozawa, the Good Brothers, and
Okay.
AJ, Alpha Academy, Corbin, and then all of a sudden, um, Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis turn up,
Oh,
and
okay.
they're like JBL doesn't want Dexter there. He's calling him sort of like a psycho and a freak and all that. But Dexter's carrying a bag with him.
A
And
lot
he's
of
saying,
money in this bag, I'm presuming.
it's JBL's look right. You can't join. It's like 50K buy-in. And Dexter just turns the bag upside down on the table, and all of a sudden, all this money falls out, and JBL's eyes light up, and it's like, "Oh, come on, welcome in, join the gang."
I love it. I love it.
So we then move on to the first of the two women's triple threat matches.
Mm-hmm.
This one is Bailey versus Oscar versus Rhea.
Lovely.
Um, Bailey comes out and she's got into the ring, and all of a sudden we hear Becky's voice, and Becky's in the crowd again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Uh, Becky's walking down. She says about it's been 3 years since they last went one on one. Starts recounting their history and how they've been missing each other. Like Becky was injured, then Bailey was injured, then Becky was injured again.
Yep.
Um, Bailey sort of says to the crowd that look, she's Becky doesn't care about you lot, but I do, and all the crowd are still booing Bailey because they know it's a load of rubbish what she's spouting out.
Mm-hmm.
And then Becky says, "Look, two-thirds of Damage Control have been successful, but there's just one member who is a loser at the moment.
Ooh.
It's obviously because Dakota and Io are tag champions, and Bailey has repeatedly failed to win it off of Bianca.
Mm-hmm.
Then Becky sort of walks away, and we get a face down between her and Rhea as Rhea makes her way to the ring, and they're nose to nose for about 30 seconds, not breaking eye contact or anything.
That is a feud I'd like to see.
Yeah, it's quite a stare down. And then at the end, we get Oscar coming, and there's not really much fanfare about Oscar coming in, unfortunately. A nice entrance, and the crowd are cheering, but that's about it. All right, so there's a lot of back and forth to start with, although for the most part, it was Rhea's power just dominating both Bailey and Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't get any real offense going. Like Oscar would start hitting some strikes, and then Rhea would just power out of it. About 5 minutes in, they sort of Oscar and Bailey looked at each other, and they suddenly twigged that, oh, maybe we need to work together here for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So we had Oscar and Bailey teaming up to put a bit of a beating on Rhea Ripley, which they managed to accomplish. And then they sort of grabbed her and both threw her really hard through the turnbuckle
Oof.
and into the ring poster. And that was one hell of a clatter. And so that took Rhea out of the match for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just got a lot of back and forth between those two. Um, then we unfortunately got an ad. This is something I'll bring up. We got quite a few ad breaks again tonight,
Ugh.
and
You know what? It's not even the fact I was tired. I'm just tired of ad breaks. That's why I didn't watch Raw.
yeah. So we got an ad break, and then all of a sudden it's Rhea and Bailey working together, uh, beating on Oscar.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, okay, so
Right.
obviously we've not missed anything important here.
So Rhea's just been put through the turnbuckle,
Rhea,
basically.
she got put through the turnbuckle,
Yeah.
um, and then there was some scrapping outside, and Rhea did like ended up doing a sort of jumpy moonsaulty type
Yeah.
thing off of the apron to the pair of them. We cut to the adverts, and then obviously what I was watching, I didn't get the adverts. I just
Yeah.
knew that there was an advert break, and the
So
next thing,
just at this moment in time, Rhea Ripley's just been tag teamed basically by Bailey and Asuka.
yep,
And the first thought is, oh, do you know what? Bailey might have just chucked me into a turnbuckle. But let's team up with her against Asuka.
yep, hmm
Okay. There's an
yeah.
issue with that booking there, in all fairness.
They
Sorry, go.
did seem to. That was sort of commented on that, and they did seem to sort of not trust each other from this point,
Yeah.
with good reason because they kept taking digs at each other whenever they got a
Well, she's just been thrown into a turnbuckle. I won't trust someone who's put me through a turnbuckle
mm,
at this point.
um where Oscar got an ankle lock on Rhea.
Uh huh.
Um, there was a bit of a botch just after the advert break when Rhea and Bailey were working together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Rhea was in the corner, and Oscar went to do like the Bailey got knocked down, and Oscar went to do like where they run and then use the person on the ground to leap up and drop kick.
Yep.
But Oscar missed it and fell flat on her back,
Ouch.
so that didn't look too great. Um, we then got Oscar with putting a ankle lock on Rhea and Bailey grabbing Rhea's head at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So they were sort of caught in the middle of them. Rhea headbutted Bailey away, and then Oscar used the momentum to sort of German suplex Rhea. That looked really good, actually.
Okay.
Um, Bailey and Rhea then had an argument, and Rhea shouted in Bailey's face, "I'm not joining Damage Control."
Fair.
Uh, Bailey then jumped her from behind. Uh, they both got taken out by a double code breaker from Oscar. Oscar then tried to apply the Oscar lock on Bailey. Rhea drop kicked them both at the same time, which was pretty impressive. And then we had moved on to the finish. Bailey with a Bailey to belly on Oscar. Rhea missed a cannonball on the outside and injured herself, which took her out of the match. And Bailey hit a rose plant on Oscar and picked up the win.
Lovely.
There was a post-match beatdown on Oscar by Rhea Ripley because she was annoyed, and Rhea riptided Oscar.
Ooh. So, what rating would you give the match?
2.5.
2.5. According to, again, this report, not my views, their views, they give it a 4. They give...
I'd say there's a couple of botches in there that.
Oh wait, did they give it a 4? Let me have a look. No. B plus, B. Yeah, they gave it a 4. So, the notable moments that I've got here are Bailey wasn't acting quite as much like a known heel as she usually does, especially during the exchange with Lynch. And the next 3 are all about Rhea Ripley, so this shows just how good Ripley is. Ripley being too powerful for Bailey to roll up was a nice touch. WWE has done a great job portraying her as one of the most dominant women in the world. The way Ripley sold a roundhouse kick to the head from Asuka was perfect. And Ripley hits a beautiful Northern Lights suplex. Is the comments I've got here.
I don't remember any of those.
Fair. So, yeah, some of the bits. Yeah, Bailey and Asuka were forced to work together in an attempt to neutralise the Nightmare, but the lights broke down immediately. The match was a lot of fun and gave all three women a chance to look good along the way. Everyone was laying their strikes in deep and selling for their opponents like the pros they are. They found several ways to use all three competitors in interesting spots that did not look too contrived. While Ripley seemed like the favourite at times, Bailey was the one who ended up scoring the win. The Nightmare took out her frustrations on Asuka once the match was over.
I mean, they say that made them look good, but I thought the chemistry was pretty poor because the amount of times they botched things in that match was, to me, it was a bit sort of like, that Oscar thing looked awful, and then even the code breaker wasn't that convincing.
Oh dear. Not good then.
No, I didn't think it was that great.
There it is. So what else? Don't really say nothing else here. I'm just trying to look through. Yeah, so we now know that the first of the competitors for next week's title shot match is Bailey.
Yeah, no, that should be quite good. I know obviously who the other one is, and I'm assuming you do as well.
Yeah, again, these are some bits I saw. So I knew about the triple threat, but I didn't know what went off. So thank you to Saul, obviously, to explain that. Now, we have the other match later on in the night, which we'll get onto us in due time. But was there anything between this and the next match?
Yes, there's quite a bit actually.
Okay.
Got told that next week will be Seth versus Lashley in a #1 contender match. Then we got a preview of Deadline, the NXT event. And it was mainly about that Iron Survivor thing that's going on.
Whatever
I still don't really understand what that's about. They didn't explain it.
We'll find out when it comes to it, because I don't know.
We got told Drew's medically disqualified from competing, which we've already covered, and Sheamus and Butch versus the Usos on SmackDown.
Right. So the next match, I'm right in thinking.
No, we've got another big segment first of all.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Seth Rollins comes out.
Yeah.
I've put, at least he's not in lingerie this time, because he had like quite a nice bluey camo suit type job on. The crowd were loving it and singing along. He got in the ring and he's sort of going on about how he's facing Lashley, and obviously he's trying to get Lashley to come out, which he does. Lashley comes out. He's wearing a suit, sunglasses, and he's slapping hands with the fans and doing fist bumps. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute. Wasn't Lashley meant to be a heel?
Yes.
Yeah. But I've put so is a face again. Make up your mind, WWE, because I was a bit confused at this point. Then we get Bobby Chance from the crowd.
Right, okay. He's a tweener by the sounds of things there.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going for now. So Seth starts going on about if Bobby's scared of Brock, and Bobby says, no, I'm not scared of Brock. And Seth's like, oh, okay. I guess you're just jealous of Brock then, aren't you? And Seth continues sort of winding him up, and it ended up degenerating into a brawl. Security are out straight away to try and pull them apart, and I'm thinking, like, where was this security when old Riddle was getting beaten up by Solo Sikoa?
Yeah,
he was beating him up for about 5 minutes and no one turned up, yet security are popping out straight away for this.
They paid him more. Riddle hasn't got that P that Seth or Bobby has, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
you got to say the security for the So, quick thing here. So it says here Seth and Bobby will meet next week in the #1 contender match. But they couldn't wait 7 days to get their hands on each other.
No.
This next bit I didn't see. Well, I've just read. P.T. Williams ended up taking a spear.
Lashley spears him.
Yeah. Did you know this was P.T. Williams?
Yeah, they mentioned it. It's Pete Williams, the producer.
I didn't even realize Petey Williams was in WWE as a producer, nevertheless a talent. But Petey Williams ended up taking a spear when a bunch of officials tried to break it up.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll go back to this later because Adam Pearce was out at the time as well, and everyone. Obviously, Lashley didn't spear him on purpose. He was aiming for Seth.
Although I don't know, Bobby Lashley versus Petey Williams. I think I'm okay with this. Canadian Destroyer to old Bobby Lashley. I don't mind it.
We get Braxton backstage with Theory at this point. Theory's like, Seth and Bobby are past champs, fighting over scraps. Now, on the here and now. And he turns around and Mustafa Ali's standing there.
Okay.
And he wants an opportunity.
Alright, fair dues.
So we get a US title match later tonight between Austin Theory and Mustafa Ali.
Lovely.
I've put here, Ali will lose.
Yeah. So, well, I've just read. So, we've
got more. We've got more. Just in between stuff.
The picture I've got when we finally get to this match just scared me for a second because it's Austin Theory with a phone.
No, he didn't have a phone.
Yeah, now I've just clicked on it and it's the March 30th, I think it is, or May. Let me just have a double check again. This match they are referring to in this picture is May 30th of this year. And I almost got scared for a second there that Austin Theory brought back the phone.
No, he just had his leather jacket on when he came out.
That's fine. I got a bit scared, I'll be honest.
We'll go back to the Poker Invitational now. I don't know if it was which one of the Good Brothers it was, but they were calling Gable the Nerd, so we're getting Gable the Nerd chance later. Corbin loses to Dexter, and obviously Corbin accuses Dexter of cheating. Dexter doesn't say anything but stares at him, reaches down beside him, picks up an axe and puts it on the middle of the table.
Wow.
It's all good. It's all good.
Don't know.
Carry on.
Yeah.
And Tozawa and Dom on the, because there's two tables, and Tozawa and Dom are on the other one, and they're getting into an argument about Dom cheating, taking cards. And then we finally get Theory versus Ali.
Right. First things first here, right? And I'll say this first and foremost. This right here should be an indication of two top guys going forward, right? I love Austin Theory, as we've all said before. Austin Theory, I love. This should be a match where Mustafa, for me, and this before I've even read anything, this before Saul talks about it, this needs to be a match where Mustafa can show off what he's about. If he does or not, I don't know. But this here is the match where, again, you want people, the losing people, the winning people, whichever way around you may want it, people in these matches need to put on a show and prove they are something without me being the champion, winning the champion. I don't know. But this here should be a match where Austin Theory and Mustafa basically tear the house down because they want to be the top guys of next year. They are both young in their own rights. And yeah. But as I've just seen Saul's face to the side, I don't quite think this happens.
It had some good bits in it, some nice moves.
Okay. But
oh dear.
Right, okay. So first of all, you predicted here. Who did you predict? Austin Theory to win? Okay.
Theory, yeah.
Okay.
So
he's annoyed already. I love these people.
Yeah, there was, to start off with, Ali was just getting beaten around. He got thrown into the ring post of barricade. Theory's shouting, "You're in the now." Then we got an advert break pretty much straight away.
Oh, wonderful. That's what we all want.
There's a we come back in and we saw Mustafa hit with a nice reversal into a sort of jumping neck breaker.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, oh, that's pretty good. Ali, then we had a botch. Ali goes to the top rope to do a top rope Hurricane Rana on Theory.
Mm-hmm.
Theory tries to counter it into a power bomb, but it goes wrong and both of them fall flat on their faces.
So I've just read this actually as soon as you said that, and it basically says the botched Hurricane could have been bad news for both men. It's hard to tell if it was luck or skill that saved it from being a disaster.
Yeah, they were lucky in the way they landed because it could have been a lot worse.
Right. Okay.
But it did. Whatever you think, it didn't. Regardless of them not being hurt, it looked bloody atrocious. Just after that, there was a beautiful satellite DDT by Mustafa Ali.
Yeah.
Then Ali sort of got tied up in the ropes,
Okay.
and Theory's constantly beating on him. He keeps the ref's not doing anything to stop it apart from enforcing the 5 count.
Okay.
And then out of nowhere, Dolph Ziggler interrupts and takes out Theory, so we get a DQ finish.
Oh, so
Ali is pissed with Ziggler.
Yep.
And they're arguing in the ring. And then Theory takes both of them out. Ali launched into the ring post, and Ziggler hit with an A-town down.
Relatively short match then, from what you're saying.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what did you give this?
I gave it a 2.5.
Yeah, this report says 4, apparently. I don't know where they're getting 4 from what you said. Also, bear in mind that I am obviously going to more than likely side with Saul on most of these. The simple case of, when we do watch it, well, when I watch them, at least, anyway, we are very quite close on our grading, really. You know, we're quite close, a couple of points here and there. If it's anything wrong, obviously I'll give it a 0, but hey, hell, that's me. Omos is also a 0, just for reference. But the fact that I'm looking at this, and it's literally, you gave the spots right. So what I've got here is this. Seth and Bobby will meet next week. The match saw Ali get shot at Austin Theory. The champ asserted his dominance early and overpowered Ali. The former Chicago cop, so I didn't realise Mustafa Ali used to be a Chicago cop.
Yeah, they did mention that at the start.
Kept trying to find a way to make a comeback. Theory pushed him around most of the time. And this literally says, this was a solid competitive match from 2 young stars who want to prove they deserve a top spot in 2023. Even though Ali has been booked terribly in recent months, he continues to put on fantastic matches. However, they came close to having a dangerous botch during a Hurricane Rana. Thankfully, both men appeared to be fine and recovered right away with a satellite DDT that gave Ali a near fall. Other than that one spot, there's a good display of their skills. Nothing else about the match. Just a botch, a satellite DDT, and Theory being overpowering.
Yeah, I mean, what you said at the start, it should be making them both look good, this.
Yeah.
It made Theory look good, especially at the end where he's taken out both Ali and Ziggler. But it didn't really, apart from that satellite DDT, it didn't do a lot. There wasn't anything that stood out and made me think, Mustafa Ali, he's going to be going places.
Yeah. So, Dolph Ziggler showed up and hit Theory with a super kick out of nowhere. Ali got in his face, cost him the title. Theory took out both men while distracted. While this ending was not ideal, the fact that Theory has Ziggler, Ali, Lashley, and Rollins all chasing the US title makes it feel like one of the most sought after belts in all of WWE. Now, again, I've not watched the episode, so I can't talk on that. Maybe sometimes having too many people go after the title is a bad thing. Because, yes, Lashley and Rollins want the title, and Ziggler and Ali, okay, fine. It's not the title they're after, it's the person, more than likely. If Ziggler wants revenge against Theory.
Yep.
Ali wants the title, but ultimately wants revenge. Lashley wants revenge against Theory because he lost, and Rollins obviously wants his rematch. And again, this is, yes, fine, the US title, but realistically, I don't think this is putting over Austin Theory as well as it potentially could do.
No. the only thing that is the only thing was at the end when obviously he took out Ziggler and Ali, but they could have done so much more for both these guys in this match.
I ain't no damn kid.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you've got like one of the most notable things is a botch, and there's
Yes.
not much else to say about the match. I mean, yeah.
The only other kind of notable moment is after wearing shorts for a few weeks, Ollie was back to wearing long tights again, and that's it. That's quite literally all we have for that match on
Wonderful.
notable moments. Yeah.
That is wonderful.
So again, this match should have been Ollie. This is where the Theory and Seth match comes into play. That match elevated Theory. I think one of the reasons Theory's where he is that match against Seth, which I would give a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, that was an amazing match, wasn't it, on the Raw?
That showed that Theory can compete at the top level. Now, this is not to say Theory can't compete or Ali can't compete, but when you've got a chance like that, you want to tease a Royal Rumble match, mate, right? 2 months away. You've got to do something between now and Royal Rumble to make people want to watch. And this ain't it. Well, again, what I've read and what you've said, this ain't it.
They could have done. It's disappointing, and I think that's probably why I've rated it low, because I was expecting so much more from these two, being given the chance to sort of really show and see what they can do.
Yeah.
But it just
wasn't to be.
No.
I've got the next match here. However,
we've got some more.
Yeah, I was going to say, when was this? This was 2019 again. So the reason I said what I said earlier about the next match is because I've just seen a picture here from 2019.
Okay.
That's the match. So, what do we have next?
Miz at the poker tournament, but he wasn't invited by JBL.
I mean, I don't blame him.
JBL's like, oh, sorry, mate, Miz. Sure you can come, and it's just the 50k entrance thing. And oh dear, Miz is patting his pockets. I'm a little bit short at the moment. Can I just come in? You know I'm good for it. JBL's like, oh no, everyone else has put the money up front. And I've put, it's the Miz broke. We know obviously he's paid a lot of money to Dexter, but I'm wondering if he's got more financial problems. So the Miz,
all I can think of here is unhappy Corbin.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not.
So the Miz goes, oh, don't worry, JBL. Look here, I'll have a look at this. It's a Rolex. So he shows him a Rolex on his wrist. JBL sort of takes a look at it. That's a fake. The second hand's not turning. Miz is like, oh. So the Miz didn't get into the poker tournament.
Disgusting, JBL. Disgusting.
We then go back inside to the poker thing, and AJ catches Corbin cheating now.
Right.
So this leads to a little sort of ruckus between OC, Corbin, and Alpha Academy. They sort of have a shouting match. JBL tells them to stop fighting in here because he's had enough of it. And so they say, right, we're going to settle this in the ring. So they leave the table unattended, and there's still all this money and poker chips on there. And Johnny and Dexter sort of look at each other, and Johnny's like, get the bag out. And they just basically take all the money and all the poker chips and shove it in the bag, and then they get. We get a Bianca segment after this. She's not sure. She's not really sure who'll win the women's contendership. They're all valid contenders. Basic babyface stuff of everyone's great. And so we move on to the OC, AJ, Gallows and Anderson versus Corbin, Gable, and Otis, the Alpha Academy.
Yes.
And we've got JBL on commentary.
So the OC versus Alpha Academy, Baron Corbin again. And also, I'll let you take this. But one of the things I did see here was the Miz Rolex saying it's fake. I did see somewhere about the Mrs. Rolex being fake. Yeah. And I was like, that's not good. This is the Miz we're on about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure it's fake? Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, it turns out, yeah, it
Yep.
is. So, right, what happened in this match?
Well, uh, the first thing that annoyed me, and this was just a personal thing, was that they're all still calling Corbin the modern day wrestling
Ugh.
god. Now, if he'd not lost to Drew, fair enough. But JBL had like a huge unbeaten run when he was calling himself the wrestling god.
Yeah.
And Corbin's already lost to Drew.
Yes.
So why we're still calling that? I don't
Yeah.
know. We had a shush and nerd segment
Mm.
where I think it was Gallows and Gable were going shush nerd at each other.
Nerd. Shoosh. Nerd. Shoosh. Nerd.
Uh, JBL mentioned how much he would have liked to have an APA brawl with the Good Brothers. So that
Oh.
was nice to have a little callback to when him and Farouk were at the APA.
Yep.
Because he's saying that the Good Brothers were such good brawlers, they'd have wrecked a bar in a fight
Oh.
between the four of them. Which was surprising to see JBL sort of complimenting the other team.
Yeah.
Uh, we had Gable doing his little crab walk
Oh, God.
along the apron.
Hmm.
Anderson was doing some pretty athletic stuff, which is quite surprising considering his size.
Yep.
Um, he did like where they sort of go to suplex him over, but he just managed to come down behind um, the back of Gable. Uh, It was a lot of back and forth, really, for a
Uh-huh.
lot of it. Some classic wrestling by the Alpha Academy and lots of sort of power maneuvers
Mhm.
by the OC. AJ came in off of a hot tag and is doing all his fancy stuff. He does that the sort of thing where he goes to jump over the top rope and come down with like the punch.
Yep.
But Corbin right hands him and just
Ouch.
lays him out with it. Uh, JBL had the nice comment of, that'll stop all AJ's flippy flopping.
Oh, okay.
um,
Sure.
the ref missed a tag, and that AJ made to the Good Brothers. So he got he was put back in the ring and got hit straight away by a deep six, which AJ kicked out of.
Lovely.
AJ then sort of struggled to get out and hit Otis with a Pele kick. Got a hot tag. Anderson wrecked everyone. Hit a nice jumping neck breaker.
Hmm.
People were getting taken out everywhere. We got a phenomenal forearm for a near fall.
Such a good move.
Gallows and Anderson hit Gable with the Magic Killer, and the OC ended up picking up the win.
Ooh.
It was a solid match, but not masses that stood out for me in it.
Yeah. So, what rating would you give this match?
I gave it a 3.5.
Okay. The report gave it a 3.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Again, going through. So, it says here, the new wrestling guard, the phenomenal start for the teams. Corbin used side advantage to take Styles down early, but he bragged a bit too much. The match had a somewhat slow pace for the first several minutes, but not in a bad way. Everyone was obeying the rules, tagging in and out. Nobody was trying to go 100 miles per hour. They saved that for the final sequence. This was a textbook WWE six-man match. It never really got too out of hand, but it also never reached the level of excitement that we expect from any match involving Styles. It was decent, but nothing to write home about. After a fun exchange with all 6 competitors, brought things to a close. Gallows and Anderson hit Gable, as you said, with the Magic Killer for the win.
Mm-hmm.
Notable moments. Chad Gable, Luke Gallows were yelling their catchphrase at each other in the night, and so that seemed to be the basis for the animosity. They did it again during the match, and the crowd started to get into it.
Yeah. Nerd.
Huge. Gable and Anderson are both awesome technical wrestlers, so having them pair up for part of this match allowed them to display those skills before Gallows tagged in. It'd be awesome if we got a couple of singles matches between them. Otis is letting his beard get long again. His sense of humour is directly tied to the length of his beard, apparently. And Otis sold the Pele kick from Styles perfectly.
He did go down like a bag of potatoes.
Absolute bag of taters. Yeah. Again, I didn't see this match. I saw nothing of it. But it's your typical 6-man tag. You get a 6-man tag. There's only one way it can really go, and I feel as though it's nice to have the OC and AJ away from the Judgment Day.
Yes, that was a nice change.
Yeah,
that's all we've had for the past month.
Yeah, it was nice to have them just kind of move away from it. Right. Is there another match next, or is there some more backstage stuff?
Some more backstage. Two little bits of backstage stuff.
What we got?
Alexa getting ready for her match, the triple threat match. She's got a Lily doll sitting beside her.
No.
And there's a TV monitor in the background, and we get the little Bray symbol.
Lovely.
Flash up, but Alexa doesn't even notice. So that was just like a very short, sort of like 10-15 second segment.
Yeah.
We then get Saxton with Candice LeRae.
Okay.
She's already got her revenge on Dakota Kai.
Yep.
But next week she'll be facing Dakota's tag team partner, Io Sky.
Yep.
Gargano and Dexter turn up. Gargano says, "Look in here," to Candice, and she sort of looks into the bag, and she's about to swear, and Gargano just claps his hand over her mouth, and then she turns to Saxton and says, "It's a lot of money."
So one thing I did see here is Nikki Cross is again in the background.
Yeah.
Where Candice is.
Yes, yeah, because they zoomed right in onto her face as she was having the interview with Saxton. So I think we may be heading towards a Nikki Candice feud maybe in the future.
Maybe. We'll see. I don't know how I feel about it, but it is what it is.
Well, because I suppose we can talk about it. We've heard that we're probably getting what's his face? Help me out here, Marshall. Leader of Sanity.
Eric Young
coming back.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe reforming Sanity because
maybe
have Nikki in there.
Maybe have Dexter turn on Johnny Gargano and join Sanity.
Yeah.
Just me, just spitballing. Don't mind me.
Mm.
So yeah, so Nikki Cross in the back here with Candice. So I want something to happen. I don't know if it will. We've obviously heard we're in talks to have Eric Young back in WWE, and again having Sanity back would be good. But you need Killian Dane and Alexandra Wolf now. I don't think either of them will come back.
No.
Killian Dane might, but I don't know. Is the best way I can put it. But Candice LeRae, I'm glad she's getting spotlight. I'm glad she's getting airtime. And again, same with obviously Johnny and Dexter. Glad to see them doing whatever they do. We just need Index. We need Indy Hartwell. I think this is what this is missing now, is Indy Hartwell.
Can we also just say on the note of Eric Young that I'm glad to hear that he's coming to the WWE after what happened to him on Impact Wrestling.
Yeah. Because yeah. As we know, so basically, for you that don't know, Eric Young's character legit just got killed off on Impact. Yeah.
And Impact really love doing that because they legit killed off Ali.
Yes.
And then a couple of months later, we get the bunny on AEW.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
Stop killing off people, please, Impact.
Yeah, please, Impact.
Right, and
match time.
No more silliness. Yes, match time. Well,
yeah.
We say match
time. I'm looking at it right now, and I don't quite think it's a match. But again, I didn't watch
No.
the show, so I don't know.
I'll be honest with you, mate. I've got about 3 lines for
Right.
this
Do you know
one.
what? I'll take over this one then.
Yeah, you can probably do a better job
So,
with this one. Who
after
is that who's fighting?
right, so first of all, it's Akira Tozawa versus Dominic Mysterio, which to me is the most random matchup I've ever seen in my life.
Remember, they did have an argument at the poker tournament.
So, well, this is what I'm about to say. Obviously, I didn't watch the episode, so I did not know the poker tournament had so many interactions. After getting into an argument during the poker game, Tozawa and Mysterio met for a singles match, but Dom came with the entire Judgment Day stable. The Japanese superstar used his speed and agility to easily control his younger opponent for the first minute, but Dominic sent him into the middle turnbuckle to stall his momentum. Tozawa missed his signature senton for the top rope, so Mysterio capitalized by hitting a frog splash for the win. This was a quick match that didn't do much other than give Mysterio a easy win. Winner,
Yeah.
Mysterio, grade 1.
I gave it a 1.5.
Notable moments. It's great to see Tozawa wearing his original gear again. The ninja costume was way too long. And Tozawa got some good height on his senton, so hitting the mat as hard as he did must have hurt.
That looked pretty painful.
And
There was a free. Dom did the Three Amigos thing. Tozawa did a nice Shining Wizard. Dom avoided the senton and hit the frog splash.
so there was no point having this match, is what we're saying.
They could. We could have had another segment here, I think.
Yeah.
Gone better than this. Yeah.
Yeah. So from what I'm reading, basically, there's no point having this match. It's again just to give Dominic a win into it, isn't it? Yeah, we don't need it.
There was a little bit at the end that maybe they're setting up for something because the Judgment Day come in. There's Finn's sort of saying to Dom, "Go on, beat him down," and the Street Profits come out to make the save for Tozawa. So maybe we'll get Street Profits versus Dom and Priest later. I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. And I'll be honest, I don't care.
No.
Just because Street Profits serve better. But is there any segments here?
We see a bit of Becky getting ready backstage for the Becky Alexa Nikki match.
Yep.
We get a recap of Seth and Lashley. Then we see Adam Pearce asking Lashley not to spear any more members of the staff. It sort of Lashley says, "Just make sure that no one else gets in my way." Then.
Yep.
Next week we've got Raw in Milwaukee. Seth versus Lashley, Candice versus Sky, and Bayley versus the winner of the upcoming Triple Threat.
Lovely.
Which is Alexa, Nikki, and Becky.
Yes. So, yeah, as you said, this match is to decide who faces Bayley next week for a title shot at Bianca. Now, Bayley should not be in this match in the first place. The match next week, she's already had way too many chances.
Yes, we spoke about this before we started recording, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we're...
How many...
Asuka should have won here.
Yeah, how many shots has
Bayley
had for that women's title?
Genuinely ridiculous now, isn't it?
And then she gets straight away put back into a chance to get another title shot.
Yeah, like you basically killed off Bayley ever having a title because she's lost every time.
And it's all well and good saying, "Oh, she's beat her when it's not been a title match," but that's not the point.
Yeah,
you
you
can't
can't
do it when it counts.
Yeah. So, what happens in this match, Saul?
Right then. At the start, they're sort of mentioning that Alexa's been off of her. She's not the wrestler that she used to be, and she's not as sort of ruthless as she was. And she's really got to sort of up her game, and this is her big chance to try and get back into the title picture.
Right.
At the start, Alexa and Becky sort of team up to I can hear me Kindle going off whenever I say Alexa. Obviously, the Kindle bloody registers it.
No.
Uh, so Alexa and Becky team up right at the start, and they take out Nikki, which was a bit obvious because Nikki's the crazy one, and they were a team in War Games. So we then get into some nice exchanges between Alexa and Becky. Alexa roll through the manhandle slam into a pin. Then Becky sort of reversing it into another pin. When they it's still going off. When Bliss and Becky threw Nikki out onto the outside, all I could hear was the commentators going, "Oh, Becky's sitting on the table and laughing." So, not Becky, Nikki was sitting on the table and laughing as she watched the Alexa and Becky fight in the ring. So I'm thinking, oh, Nikki's obviously fine then after being chucked out.
Yeah.
While Nikki comes back in and straight away she gets hit by Bexploder and is taken out of the match again. Alexa with a nice sort of strike combo. Next time, remind me to turn the Kindle off before we start recording, especially because I know
you can hardly hear it.
Oh, it's getting on my tits now.
just say A. If you're gonna go ahead with it, just say Becky, A, and Nikki. That's all you need. Alexa, Alexa, Alexa.
Nikki threw Becky into the steps, and took Becky out for a bit. Then she hit a swinging neck breaker on Alexa on the outside as well. She starts clearing the announce table at this point, and I'm thinking, oh, who's she going to put through it? Is it going to be Becky or is it going to be A? And what do you think happens then? We get an ad break.
Oh, for God's sake.
And when the ad break is over, we are back in the ring with Nikki with a headlock around A. And this headlock goes on for us probably about a minute or so. Keeps looking like A is about to pass out, but she fights out of it. Becky comes in and she's sent face first into the ring post. So she wasn't around for very long. We get some more sort of brawling on the outside. We get Alexa do a sort of diving from the apron, diving something onto Nikki and Becky.
Okay.
Alexa and Nikki are. I keep saying it. A and Nikki on the top rope.
I'm gonna get a counter, you know.
Yes, we need that. I think. A and Nikki on the top rope. Nikki's sort of going for a superplex on A. Becky gets in underneath them, and she sort of power bombs Nikki, but Nikki does the superplex on Alexa. So that was actually quite a good bit because we'd seen a lot of sort of women coming together. Well, not just women, but wrestlers coming together with these sort of spots and then being botched in this episode. So it was nice to see one that actually worked.
Lovely.
Almost immediately after that, Nikki goes for the, Randy Orton's rope hanging DDT, where their feet are on the ropes and
one of my favorite moves.
Yeah. So Nikki goes for that on A, but at the same time, Becky's climbed to the top ropes, and as Nikki does the DDT, Becky does a double leg drop, so Alexa gets hit by both the DDT and a double leg drop.
Ouch.
So that looked pretty good.
Okay.
Nikki was then messing about and waited too long to go for the pin, which was stupid because you'd have thought you'd have just gone for it straight away.
Yeah.
Um, we get a bit on the outside with Becky and Nikki fighting because at this point Alexa's out of it.
Okay.
Becky going for a manhandle slam on the apron. Nikki countering it into a pile driver, but she can't quite hit it. Becky then gets back out and counters it into a manhandle slam. Didn't look like she hit all of it, but I suppose it's a bit awkward on the apron.
Yeah.
As sort of Nikki rolled back into the ring, Sky and Kai interrupt.
Wonderful.
They go straight after Becky, beat down her. You remember that table that I mentioned earlier?
Yes.
The announce table? Well, Sky and Kai drag Becky round to there, and they both hoist her up and do a double two-man power bomb through the announce table on Becky, effectively taking her out of the match. Meanwhile, back in the ring, Nikki's still not recovered from the manhandle slam on the apron. Alexa's managed to climb to the top ropes because she's somehow recovered from that beating she took earlier.
Nice.
She hits the Twisted Bliss and picks up the win. So we've got A versus Bailey next week for the women's #1 contendership.
Lovely. So some little bits and bobs from the report, not me, but the report. So they have a giant AR graphic of Lily for Alexa's entrance. The doll was gone for a while, but it appears WWE is bringing it back as part of a character, probably something to do with Bray.
Bray, yes. Yeah.
Some of the pinning combinations Bliss and Lynch used early on looked good, but 1 out of every 3 or 4 looked slightly awkward, so it made the whole sequence feel slightly off balance. Lynch tried to jump off Bliss's back tip crossing the corner, but she missed the mark by a couple of inches.
That was a bit like the same thing happened in the first match with Oscar doing the leaping and missing it by a few inches.
The way Cross and Bliss were fighting felt like WWE might be considering reigniting their feud. And the spot when Lynch tried to hit a leg drop while Cross hit Bliss with a neck breaker looked very awkward.
Yeah, it looked painful, and yeah, I mean, I didn't realise it was a double leg drop at the time until Corey Graves kept saying, "Oh, it's a double leg drop she hit her with," and I thought it was just like a single leg drop or something. But
yeah, so the only other bits here are all 3 of these women have their own unique styles, but they are very versatile too. That allowed them to put on a fun encounter that was almost as good as the other triple threat we saw earlier in the night. The first bout just had slightly more aggressive pace to it. Obviously, Sky and Kai came out to prevent the man from winning by powering them both through the announce table. Allowed the guys to hit the Twisted Bliss for the win. Winner, Alexa Bliss, and they gave this a 3.5.
I actually gave it a 4.
Oh, lovely.
I preferred this one to the first one. Yeah.
So, with that, that is Raw reviewed, basically. But what we get from this is next week we have Alexa versus Alexa versus Bailey for a shot at Bianca, which I think Alexa should win. If I'm honest.
Yeah. We've been teasing this stuff with Bray and what something going to happen to her. So I think maybe we'll see Alexa win this and then turn on Bianca in a title match, possibly. I do think Alexa deserves something because she hasn't had, I think they said it was like 2 years since she'd held a singles title.
Damn, that's a long time. So, Saul, who is your worst and best wrestler of the episode?
Okay.
So, going off of this, I'm going to have to say that Theory is probably the worst for me this week. Going off of what I've read, Theory is probably the worst. Hell, go on.
I'd probably, if we're rating like on a gradient of how good Theory has been to what he was in this episode, then yes, I'd agree Theory's probably the worst.
Yeah.
Although if it's just a straight up worst contribution, it didn't do a lot in this episode, I'd have to probably say Tozawa. And it's nothing against Tozawa. It's just he was used crap again.
Yeah, Joe, I think I agree. Yeah, I've just read again to Sour. He doesn't need to have a win. He doesn't need to lose to Mysterio.
No.
You've had him go back to his original gear to just lose to Mysterio. It's 50-50 booking. And the best, I think it's Alexa, you know.
Yes, yeah, I'll definitely agree with that.
Yeah,
Alexa was great this week.
Because this puts her in a really good spot to get a title opportunity. And you know what? Solo Sikoa as well for just decimating Riddle. Is me, again, this is not my actual view. This is just me looking at hearing what Saul said, but also looking at this review that's been posted, which I will give links to. Bleacher Report is admittedly, Bleacher Report are not always on the wire, but look, I pulled up a guide. It's got some really good bullet points in there. So Bleacher Report, thank you for basically having an article for me to use because I fell asleep early because I was tired and I'm useless.
Also, I've got my best comedy pairing of the week.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and that goes to Dexter and Johnny Gargano.
I thought it might do.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Like I say, Dexter doesn't need to say anything, but he's damn good at what he does.
Yeah, all he was doing was that stare the entire episode. And Gargano was the mouthpiece, and it just worked so well.
Yeah. Like I say, Indy Hartwell comes back, I will be very happy. And to be fair, there was a house show recently, and Dexter was back and went and hugged Indy, so you never know. But that is all, I believe. Is there anything else you need to add?
Make sure that Alexa wins next week.
Well,
please.
Yeah, there's that, but it is WWE, so we'll see.
Yes.
So yes, as I said in the intro, we are potentially rebranding. We more than likely will be starting up a channel in January, and this will be where the reviews move over to. This is nothing basically against anyone or anything. Obviously, it's a case of we've been doing this for a while now, and we just feel as though, I feel as though, we'll talk off stream, obviously, off video, but I feel as though it's in its own entity now. It deserves its own world as such, and the reception on it has been great. You know, I've seen the views and I've seen the people and whatnot, and look, it's been good, and we really appreciate it. So I think it's now time to step this up one notch and put it on its own channel, and it also makes it easy on both me and Saul if it's on a different channel. Yeah, as well. It just makes it easier for us, and then I can basically focus on my content because someone else has a bit of content out. I do think that today at 2 o'clock you put
2
it
2 o'clock, I think it went
2
out.
o'clock. Acidic Saul uploaded his first YouTube video.
Yeah,
so
Lord of the Rings. Yeah,
I now have a channel link finally, and I will be posting it absolutely everywhere. So I'm lucky.
I've got another one coming out tomorrow.
Look, and he's got another video out tomorrow. Look at that. So yeah, it basically just frees us up, so we're not dedicated to kind of one entity, because what me and Saul do is bigger than my channel and bigger than his channel. You know, I will still be doing my content, Saul will be doing his content, but this is something we can both solely focus on and actually make something from, because it's all well and good sitting here doing the review after Raw and SmackDown review, but something's missing, I think, is what we've both said, into it. Something's missing, and we think this channel could be the start of just find the missing pieces. But anyway, that has been it from me and Saul. Obviously, make sure you follow his links down there. Twitter, Vicar Saul. Twitch, Acidic Saul. And I'll be posting in the description his YouTube link, so you can go watch his first video and support Saul.
Yes, support me. It's a crap video. Well, it's not crap, but it's my first one, so yeah.
Go show him support. Go show him the love. Without further ado, thank you from me.
And thank you from me.
Peace.
Peace out, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.